Hey guys, TommyBryson here, and as you guys know, I make videos about investing, about money, about retirement, but I noticed that every time I recommend a Roth IRA, I see this question over and over again, and I still haven't made a video about it, and that's why today I'm making this video right here. Basically, how do you open up a Roth IRA step by step? What investments do you pick for that Roth IRA? On top of that, well, what are the rules and benefits when it comes to having a Roth IRA? And then lastly, where do I actually go to open up a Roth IRA? So today in this video, I'm going to answer all those questions. That way you guys know exactly how to take action today and go ahead and open up yourself a Roth IRA. And by the way, guys, if you guys don't know me, I post videos every single day on YouTube. So you should also subscribe and hit the bell so you get notified. On top of that, also destroy the like button. And by the way, overall, the reason everyone loves Roth IRAs is basically your money grows 100% tax-free, and then in the end, when you want to take it out, you can also take it out 100% tax-free also, and all that money is basically yours. And that's why everyone, absolutely everyone that I know personally, loves a Roth IRA. Even my grandmother, which doesn't know anything about it, but she should love it too. Trust me, Roth IRAs are definitely awesome. Now guys, the very first thing is this. Tommy, where should I go to go ahead and open up a Roth IRA step by step? Well, there are three options I'm going to give you guys here, but I'm going to show you step by step how to do it when it comes to M1 Finance, which is basically my favorite app when it comes to investing overall. Tell me why? Well, you have fractional shares, so you don't need to have a lot of money to invest, only around $10. On top of that, you have dynamic rebalancing, meaning you don't have to sell your investments to bring back the balance. And then lastly, they have a lot of investment options on the platform. So here is a step-by-step guide on how you go ahead and open up a Roth IRA. And by the way, I'm going to put my phone right here, I think. And now let's go to M1 Finance, okay? And by the way, guys, crazy story here. I was doing this video preparing, and I accidentally opened up a Roth IRA with M1 Finance. So it might let me do it, or it might not let me do it, but I show you guys exactly how to do it either way, okay? All you have to do is click towards the top right corner here, where you have all these little bars right here. And then you want to scroll all the way down where it says add an account, all the way to the bottom. And it says, for example, individual accounts. That's basically a taxable account. You have joint accounts if you're married, or for example, retirement accounts. That's what we want. But lastly, you also have trust accounts if you actually have a trust and you want to make an investment account for your trust. But in this case, we're looking for a retirement account. So just click it here. And then it says traditional IRA. It's basically pre-tax accounts. That is not what we want. We have a Roth IRA. That's what we want. Then we also have SEP, Simplify Employee Pension. That's cool, but that's not what we want. And then you have the rollover. If you have a 401k with an employer, you're not with them anymore, you can go ahead and roll that over into M1 Finance, which is also pretty cool. Now, all you have to do is just click on Roth IRA, and then basically just click confirm, and that's it. It's that easy to basically open up a Roth IRA with M1 Finance. And by the way, I swear to God, okay, this video is not sponsored by them, but whenever I find a product I enjoy, I basically talk about them like I'm sponsored, because basically I believe in the product and it makes a lot of sense, okay? Now, to build a portfolio here, okay, because I want to make something very, very clear, guys, okay? Now, let me just take my phone off from this side here. Before I even get to the investments here, there's one thing I want to make very clear. Even though you have a Roth IRA, it does not mean when you send money over there, you're basically investing. No. You still have to select your investments that you want to invest into in your Roth IRA. The cool pro is basically whatever investments you have in there, they grow 100% tax-free and there's no tax around them. That's the cool benefit about having a Roth IRA. But for example, I read a story in a book by Ramit called I'll Teach You to Be Rich, right? And the lady basically sent money over to her Roth IRA for 6 years, okay? And never picked an investment. And by the end of the 6 years, all she had was some cash in there, but no investments, no growth, and lost out literally on all those gains. So again, you want to pick the investments you actually want. That way you can actually invest that money and have it grow over time. It's not about sending money over there whatsoever. So if you want to pick investments, all you have to do, here's my phone here again. You can click, for example, View Pies, because by the way, I have a link down below to my Acorns pie that I actually use the most on M1 Finance. And you can go ahead and copy that over and basically open up a Roth IRA with that pie right there. So in my case, I would probably open up an Acorns replica. And here it is with my targets, okay? Basically, it has, let me go here, targets. basically has Vanguard, VEA, VB, SHI, LQD, VNQ, VWO, and its basic portfolio has perfect balance. That way you have investments in the US, also outside of the US, also in different markets, and also in bonds, and also in real estate. That way you have more security. In case anything happens, you're still going to be good to go and everything is going to be fine. This portfolio right here, you don't have to memorize it. I have a video on it, and I also have the link down below to Tommy Finance. So when you go ahead and you click, just click invest with this pie and open up a Roth IRA with that pie right there, and that way you invest the exact same way I invest. However, if you want to build basically your entire own portfolio, you just have to click, for example, where it says browse, and then go ahead and pick your investments. For example, I want to invest into Apple. Great. I want to pick Amazon, Microsoft, all this stuff right here, Alphabet, Facebook, or Berkshire Hathaway, and I just click, for example, done. And I add it, and now right here are my investments. And I'm gonna go ahead and create a pie with it, and every time I put money in here, it automatically invests it into this portfolio right here. Now, the cool thing is that basically, when I put money in here, if I want to keep it balanced, so basically 50% bonds and 50% stocks, the idea is that M1 Finance automatically invests the money to keep that same balance. That way you never fall out of balance. And the last tip is this, guys, okay? If you're gonna do this correctly, make sure you invest the same amount of money every single week. I recommend around 20% of the income you actually earn. That way you max it out every single year when it comes to your Roth IRA, and do it every single week, okay? That way you buy low and high and get the average over the year, and you're not worried about, hey, I bought too high, oh my gosh, market crash. That way you're good to go and don't have anything to worry about, okay? But guys, overall, that is how you go through step by step and open up a Roth IRA account when it comes to M1 Finance. Okay, Tommy, but you promised me 3 options here, okay? Well, I know. The 2 options are basically Fidelity and also Schwab's. And although I don't use them because I don't want to basically spread around my money even more than it is today, the answer is they're pretty solid, have a good reputation, and also have fractional shares. And that's why I'm recommending them and putting basically my name on them, okay? But the one that I use the most and will continue to use is basically M1 Finance, okay? And by the way, guys, here is my real portfolio when it comes to M1 Finance, and I have around $65,000 in here. But the answer is that right now, the market is down. So right now is a perfect opportunity to go ahead and buy stocks and investments for a pretty low price and basically get a massive discount right before Black Friday. So if you want to get started, right now is the perfect time. Link down below to my portfolio, and also link down below to a video on also different portfolios depending on what your risk tolerance actually is. Now, guys, lastly, before we go here, I just want to make a few things clear when it comes to the rules and benefits of actually having a Roth IRA, because you might say, for example, yeah, Tommy, everyone recommends it, but I'm not sure exactly why they actually recommend it, okay? Well, the first thing is this. Can you actually qualify to get a Roth IRA? Although I opened one up just now, I can't qualify because basically my income is way too high. And for example, if you have a modified adjusted gross income of more than $137,000 if you're single, or $206,000 if you're actually married jointly, the answer is you can't invest into a Roth IRA. And I can't either. But if you have an income that's less than that, you can go ahead and start investing today. But there is an alternative to what you can actually do if you can't qualify, because basically your income is way too high. You actually have 3 options, okay? The first option is basically open up a Roth 401k account with your employer. That way you can have basically like a Roth IRA, but a 401k version, Roth 401k, ask your employer about it, you invest into it, and I actually have one of those myself, and that's what I currently invest into today. But if I can qualify for a Roth IRA, obviously I would. It's awesome, and it's one of the best ways to actually invest. And eventually, I can basically grab my Roth 401k accounts and convert it over into a normal Roth IRA, and that's what I'm waiting for when the time actually comes. But it's not going to be for a while yet. Now, the second option you actually have if you don't qualify for a Roth IRA is basically you can get a traditional IRA. There's no limit on that. But again, it is going to be with pre-tax money. And if you make way too much money, you can't basically deduct it from your taxes either. And if you want to convert that traditional IRA into a Roth IRA. That's basically called a Roth IRA ladder, where you basically grab your traditional IRA money and put it into a Roth IRA money, but you do have to pay taxes on the amount you actually are transferring over. The best way to do it is say, for example, I have a 401k with my employer over at McDonald's. The answer is I grab that money from the 401k at McDonald's, I transfer it over into a traditional IRA, then I grab that money from there and put it into a Roth IRA. And that's how you get it done. However, don't transfer all that money at once. You'll get a massive tax bill. Just transfer over exactly what you're going to need for retirement every single year. Meaning, if I need 20K for retirement every year, transfer over 20K from the traditional IRA into the Roth IRA every single year, and that way you get that money over and over and over again every year. But in reality, you don't pay that much taxes on it, okay? So just keep that in mind. And lastly, if you want to contribute into your Roth IRA, the limit is $6,000. If you're 50 and older, you can actually contribute up to $7,000. But on top of that, the cool benefit is that basically, again, your money grows tax-free. When you're older, your 50s or 70s, when you take that money out, it's 100% yours. There is no tax that you actually owe on it. But lastly here, there is one thing I want to say that's not that great about the Roth IRA, and I want you guys to look out for it, okay? And it's basically called the 5-year rule. Meaning, for example, if you roll over a traditional IRA into the Roth IRA, you have to wait 5 years to take that money out. And that's why I say, hey, transfer out the money you need for retirement every single year, because by the end of those 5 years, you can start taking that 20K out, then 20K out the next year, then 20K out the next year, because basically there is a waiting period of 5 years when you transfer that money into the Roth IRA. But for example, if what you're doing is right now, you put in 6K this year, 6K this year, just like normally in a Roth IRA, that rule does not apply to you, only basically for the gains you actually have inside of your Roth IRA. But the contributions, you can take that money out whenever you want to, if you have, for example, a very standard, normal Roth IRA. And guys, that is about it for this video. Hopefully, you learned a lot here, how to open up an account, the benefits, the things to look out for, and then also, well, my alternatives and what happens if I don't qualify and what are my options, okay? Those are all the questions I basically wanted to answer, but if I missed any, just comment down below and let me know, and I'll get to work on a video breaking everything down even further, and that way you're good to go. And again, although Fidelity and Schwab's are great, my favorite one is M1 Finance, because basically it's automatic, it's very easy to use, and basically you can invest into it just with $10 or $20 and everything is taken care of, okay? And that's why I basically recommend M1 Finance. I'm not sponsored in any way, but I believe in the product and I like it a ton. And if they had a stock or a company, well, that's a different conversation. Maybe I'll invest, maybe I won't. If it makes sense, I will, but it's a whole different conversation, okay? But guys, comment down below and let me know exactly, did you learn something? Does this make sense? Any questions, comment down below. Also, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for watching. If you like this video right here, well, like this video. And on top of that, also, subscribe and hit the bell so you're notified. And if you want to text me or call me, search my Patreon, link down below, or send me a DM on Instagram at TommyBryson. And before I go, if you want to see a video on different portfolios you can actually use, here's that video right here. And see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for watching. And as always, peace.